We break a lot of things in the young team. You have visibility into the future, but you're stuck in the present.
People like you and I are like a CTO's worst nightmare because
Oh, 100%. And we put so much pressure on the conversation of if versus when.
people emote when they're having conversations with people that they are interested in.
I want our industry to win. I want our industry to be more profitable. Try so hard to say what's on the scripts that we stop forgetting how to actually have a conversation with a human being. Commitment gets you in the door, but contribution keeps you in.
What up, everybody? Grant Wise, welcome back to the Partner Profit Podcast. I am pumped for my conversation today. I know you guys always hear that from me, but I've got some incredible friends, and today's conversation is going to be absolutely epic. I got my friend, Mr. Ryan Young on. Ryan, man, thanks for spending some time with me today.
We're doing this, and we're both very passionate about the topic, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
For people that are listening and maybe don't know much about you, give us a bit of the backstory, man. How'd you get to where you are today? You've got some incredible companies.
I got into real estate in 2009. Great time to get into real estate. Actually joined my folks, was looking for a career change. I was in the culinary industry for a long time and said, I'm going to move back to Cleveland, Ohio and start selling real estate with you guys. What are your thoughts? And if we do it, I'm going to build something special. They were selling, the two of them, for probably a decade or so. So we started scaling the team, and we have this incredible team, the Young team, service most of Northeast Ohio. I'm really proud of our team. We sell about 500 homes a year. We have 15 agents. We're a very listing heavy team, ties into some of the profitability strategies. But then I saw another opportunity. One of the strategies that the Young team was doing was leveraging our database and taking all those buyer leads that we were buying and actually identifying the homeowners of them, and then starting to reach out to them to generate listings from it, which was kind of the core competency of starting Fello. So we launched Fello about almost 4 years ago now, and we've been really fortunate. We've seen a ton of growth. You know, we're working with about 3,000 teams around the country, and a lot of those teams are the biggest teams, you know, over 50% of the Realtor's top 1,000. And it's been just really cool to have an actual team in production while also being a client of Fello, and also getting the visibility into all these top teams and seeing what they're doing as well. So I have this very unique perspective of being in the trenches, but also getting kind of like more of the B2B angle as well. And it's been really influential in a lot of the things that I've done with the Young team and how we've scaled that.
I've watched the growth. It's certainly been inspiring because it's been meteoric. Like, you guys have taken off like a rocket. It's been cool. I've always said, I think, because I've had private conversations with other people about you, I think Ryan Young's in the best position. I think he's one of the people that is just like in the absolute best position in the industry. He's a high functioning team. They do really well, but he's also got this tech company that is just taken off like a rocket. And exactly what you said. You have a unique perspective because you get the practitioner element, but then you also get to see what's happening at a high level from 3,000 companies, it's not something everybody gets. It's really cool perspective that I'm sure you have.
The funny thing is that I'm the beneficiary of all this tech that we're building. I'm also the guinea pig of all the tech that we're building. And so where it's like, I'm the beneficiary from a standpoint of like, we get access to all these things, but it also like we break a lot of things in the Young team. And luckily I have very patient, incredible team members, because like they're the guinea pigs, you know? And so it's like before our product ever sees the day of beta or GA or whatever, to the rest of the industry, it's getting broken. Yeah, we're the alpha. And the other funny thing is, you know, people are always like, you're in such a fortunate position to be able to like get access to all this technology, and like a lot of it's iterated based off of our team's feedback and the way we use it and the success and traction we have. But there's also one side of it that is like really frustrating. And I live in a world where I have visibility into our roadmap 6 months ahead, but I'm also a user of our current product. And so it's like, I'm constantly telling my team, like, guys, just wait. In 6 months from now, this is going to be crazy. And they're like, yeah, dude, but like, we need to sell homes today. And so I'm like constantly living in like this forward future state but I'm like using what it's like, you have visibility into the future, but you're stuck in the present. And so sometimes it creates this like a little bit of a unique dynamic between me and the Young team members, because I'm like, just wait. And they're like, we can't wait. Like, today is today. Like, I'm like, but you'll see in 6 months from now, this is going to be sick.
People like you and I are like a CTO's worst nightmare because
Oh,
it puts
100%.
so much downward pressure, because it's like, yeah, I've been telling people about this thing, and the CTO's like, What?
Dude.
Like,
Yeah,
stop.
I've learned now it's like all our timelines are like in quarters or halves. It's like
Mhm.
it gives us a little bit more grace on versus like if I say like, oh, it's gonna be live next week or it's gonna be live in
Uh-huh.
March or whatever. It's like, no, it's gonna be live in the first half. It buys us till June 30th. It's like if we need to. So my CTO has scolded me a couple times because I get a little too I'm a passionate guy. I have a lot of energy and excitement for the real estate industry, and sometimes I get a little too maybe loose-lipped on the future and like what we're building, and it all of a sudden creates these expectations of like when can I get access to it? And my CPOs and CPO scolded me a couple times.
I've certainly been in that same position. I'll get text on webinars. It's like,
Yeah,
shut
it's
up.
like,
Like, what are you talking about? Stop talking. Like, stop saying stuff like this. One of the things that I'm also super jealous of is your Instagram feed when you're in the kitchen, dude. Like, some of the dishes that you put out are absolutely insane. I hope I am in the presence of one of these
you got to
experiences
do it, man.
one time,
Yeah,
dude.
it's I'll
To
say
me,
this.
it's incredible.
I made a very large investment after I graduated high school. I grew up cooking throughout all of high school. I worked full time in a kitchen and I loved it. I was obsessed with the restaurant industry. And after I graduated high school, I went to the Culinary Institute of America. It was an extremely expensive education to not be using professionally. But the benefit, I guess I should say, my wife is the beneficiary and my friends and family. And it's like, there is nothing more than I would love. This is actually like, I know you're doing like the podcast thing and it's so cool. I would love to do like, I also own this like real big piece of property where we're starting to farm it. It's like, I would love to do these like, podcast or group dinners where like a bunch of people fly like in our industry and it's like
I'm all in.
spend some time on the farm but talking business and like stuff like that and then like cook for everyone and I just feel like it's just the most real and genuine conversations at the dinner table when you're making bread.
One of my favorite things in the world, and it's one of the things that I love to contribute most. I love to cook for people. I love to
It's the
entertain
best.
people. I'm all about it. Whenever you want to do it,
All right,
like,
done.
let's
I'll
go.
stamp it.
Like, yeah, that's something that would be sold out time and time and time again for sure. So
It'd be really special and it's like it'd just be cool, so different.
yeah, I agree. So I always like to ask this question. I like to just like go straight for it. Ryan, and teach me, how do I turn my relationships into revenue? You've obviously developed some incredible relationships throughout the industry and you've built some really big companies. How do you take those relationships and turn them into revenue?
This is actually like a really easy answer for me, and I can probably go more into detail. But I would say like, and I don't know if this is going to sound super weird, but it's like the way you turn relationships into revenue is by not trying to monetize relationships, right?
It's a central theme in a lot of the conversations we have here. It's like, just give to people, just help people, and don't expect anything in return. And as an extension of that, you will be
Yeah.
big. Like, you're going to have a big company. All of the biggest people I know have the same philosophy.
I want our industry to win. I want our industry to be more profitable. I feel like I've just observed over the past decade margins getting tighter and there being less leverage and more stress, and everyone's working really hard. And ultimately, like, I feel like the industry is in like a very unique place. And so, my way of quote unquote driving revenue from relationships is actually not trying to drive revenue from relationships, but coming from contribution. And the best part about it is if eventually there's revenue at the end of the journey or an opportunity financially, awesome. But if there isn't, awesome, because I know that like this pay it forward mindset. Like I remember I met you at John Cheplack's event in Tahoe. You know, you were doing your thing with Whitley, and it's like I ran up to you, we had a great conversation, and I was like so excited to talk to someone that also had like a SaaS product, and like, you know, it's one of those things that it's like, how can I now pay that conversation that we had? How can I pay that forward with someone else, right? And how can I, with what we're doing at the Young Team, help inspire someone else? And so I'll just give you one other example. We don't service Canada. I've been on more calls with my Canadian friends about how to help them scale their business, even though I can't physically, I can't serve them. I can't, like, no matter what, if they want to buy my product, I can't sell it to them. But I kind of tell them, like, you don't need my product to philosophically do what we do with the Young Team and with Fellow. There might be a couple extra steps. It's not as automated, but let's hop on a call and let me like lay out a playbook for you. And I'm going with that mindset of like, there's nothing to gain, right? But I can gain a relationship and hopefully I can help them and hopefully they'll help someone else. And maybe someday there's a way they can help me. But like, I guess it's a long winded way of saying if you're trying to monetize relationships, you're probably going to be unsuccessful. If you
Yeah, I've
focus
happened.
on giving, yeah, it's like if you focus on giving in focusing on deposits and value, the byproduct of that long term is it all comes back around and you will find a way to win. And you can't go into it thinking, well, when is it going to happen? And I'll give you one more great story on the real estate side on how you turn relationships into revenue and how short-sighted I was about 12, 13 years ago. When I first got into real estate, kind of old school, I was like, I need to join a bunch of different groups and chamber of commerces and stuff like that. And I got a call from a friend who was like, I was maybe 28 at the time, and he was on the Young Lawyers Metropolitan Bar Association. And he was like, hey man, we need one at-large non-attorney to be a part of this group. It's all attorneys. And we need one at-large to participate because like when it comes to a deciding vote, they want an outsider's opinion. And I was like, I'm in, dude. I'm 28 years old. Attorneys, they are paid. Like they're all going to be buying and selling houses from me. I went into it, and for the first like 2 years, I didn't get a single referral, nothing. I ended up creating some like great relationships, not a single referral. And I ended up dropping out of it after like 2 to 3 years. I'm like, this is such a waste of my time, right? From years 4 through probably still today, I've gotten more referrals from that group, right? And I was so short-sighted to be like, well, I'm not getting any referrals. It's not worth my time. But what I realized was that I was in the group, I was participating, I was creating relationships with people in that group, and the long tail opportunity has paid off dividends. And I wish after I started getting referrals, I wanted to jump back in and they're like, oh, we filled the at-large spot. And it was like one of those things that I was like thinking so short-sighted in like what my expectations. I was going into it trying to monetize versus
Yeah.
essentially just trying to build relationships and provide value to other people.
Let's go back. You've not always been in the position you're in now, right? You've got a lot of resources, you got some cool stuff happening. You've worked really hard to put yourself in that position, and you've got amazing team and people and all of the stuff. But let's go back when you didn't have all of that stuff. How would you develop those relationships or identify the people that you wanted to be in relationship with, that you thought like, okay, if I can get connected to this person, it can help me do this thing. Like, because it sounds like the approach wasn't always like, let's just give. Maybe there was a different mindset, but kind of walk us through, like, how would you identify who you wanted to be connected to and who you wanted to be in a relationship with or partner with so that you guys could grow?
I always wanted to establish relationships with people that I was inspired by and people that were at the next level of the video game, right? So like when I ran up to you in Tahoe, you already had a SaaS company and I was just starting one, right? And it's like I wasn't looking to monetize the relationship, but I was looking to learn from you and be inspired by you. And like, so I've always centered my relationships about where I'm going versus where I've been. And here's something that's like super interesting. So me and my business partner at Fello are childhood friends. We have a group of like 10, 11 like super tight friends that we've been cool with for 35 years, right? Since we were like in middle school. We're still all in a fantasy football league. Now all our kids get together in the summer. Like I sent him, text him earlier, like what's the plans for this summer? But me and him, he moved out to LA. Now he lives in Austin and he's surrounded by all these very forward thinking people. Like I still live in Cleveland, Ohio, and a lot of my friends still live here. And he's established relationships with a lot of people that are like, they've sold big companies and they're like entrepreneurial, and it's like the mental stimulation of the conversations that he has and then he comes back and tells me, I find fascinating, right? And so I have found now that I'm in the tech world and I'm having conversations with like some of these large entrepreneurs, and it's very mentally stimulating. But what's so interesting is whenever we're having conversations with my friends that we all grew up with, I love them to death, but all the conversations are about the past, right? And it's like, dude, remember back in high school that party, and bro, remember that game, and da 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 da, and everything like that. And it's like when me and him are having conversations with people, it's always about the future. And so it's like I
Interesting.
have found that I'm attracted in relationships to people that are forward thinking. And once again, I love my childhood friends. We will always have a bond that no one else can, you can't make. Like it's just organic, biological, like growth from such a early age. But what's so interesting is the relationships that I seek out nowadays are those people that are like that I'm inspired by and that aspire to be like something like that where I want to go. And I'm so just like mentally stimulated and attracted to those type of conversations and those relationships that it's like I'm not looking to generate anything from them except for just mental stimulation and being inspired and being motivated. And so that's kind of like, it's just interesting of like where I am now to where I was and like what I'm really, what I get excited about and what I get inspired by.
You know, what I find so fascinating about this is like there's a certain energy that people emote when they're having conversations with people that they are interested in and fascinated by and intrigued by. Like I love having conversations with builders, which is kind of along the same lines of what you're talking about. We're always talking about the future, we're always talking about what we got going on. We're always talking about how to improve and how to get better and how to do this and mistakes and all of this stuff. And I think that, you know, when you go back to even somebody that maybe is listening to this that doesn't have a ton of relationships, is when you can show up to conversations just full of energy and curious and interested in and like intrigued about people, there's a certain connection that you develop with people that makes them want to help you. Like just the pure fascination that I may have about your business or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, I like that guy. Like I want to talk to this person more. I want to have these conversations. I want to help this person however I can. And I find that like it's just so simple. Like just be interested in people, be curious about people, be genuine in those interests. And I think it's fascinating how much people want to help you just based off of that.
100%. And just other something also that I have found is really interesting is surround yourself with people that have the same interest that you have, right? So like for example, I've over the I like to eat. I like to cook, right? And at the age of 42, I am now at a place where I can't eat the same foods that I used to eat without actually putting on some pounds. And so I've got into running. And over the past like year and some time, like I'm going to Napa this weekend and I'm running a half marathon, which I'm excited about. And it's like, now I've started to like create relationships with other runners. And now I'm on like a Strava app, which is like I'm connected to these other people that are also on the Strava app. And so it's like, running has become a new kind of folk or pillar or relationship driver with people that I really didn't have much in common before. And so it's like one of those things that it's like, don't try to build as many relationships as you can. But to your point, they have to be genuine, right? And when there's a common interest, there's a commonality between the relationship. It's so much more fun, and there's in it. And then what happens is then the curiosity kicks in of like, what else are you interested in besides the commonality? And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's cool. You lived here. Wow, you like to do this. Tell me more about that. I've never heard of that. And it's like, that's like, so it's like, what's the connection, the bond? And then it's like, where does it like spiral from there, you know?
Yeah. I think what's very interesting to me is I've had quite a few people on here that are, you know, pretty big from an influencer standpoint, have big audiences, are getting a lot of traction from social, but they previously weren't. And when I asked them what they thought the reason for that was, and it's like, you know, I always just talked about business. I always talked about this. I always talked about this thing that was really important to me, but not necessarily really important to everybody else. And when I shifted my content and just started sharing stuff that I've got going on personally or things that I'm personally interested in, he's like, my content blew up, my following blew up, and so did my connections and my business relationships and all these other things. And I think it's so interesting what you're saying is because like we all want to talk about the thing that we're doing, but the reality is like the majority of the people probably don't care. They want to get to know who you are as a person in 2026, the rise of AI and all these other things that are going on. Because if I don't trust you, I'm absolutely not going to do business with you. So I've got to build this personal connection first. And I think it's fascinating the point you're bringing up about running. I think it's all, there's a lot of alignment in what I'm seeing from a lot of other people, you know, having these
Well,
same
it's funny.
discussions.
Think about what you said to me. You're like, dude, I like, the food you post is legit or whatever. It's like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's something I'm like
$100%.
I'm very passionate about, and it's like, and the funny thing is I was just at an event this past week, 15,000 people there. Multiple people said to me, they're like, dude, I see all the running you're doing. It's like crazy, right? And it's like cool to see the growth and like the stories. And so I'm not posting that to get followers. I'm posting it because I'm passionate about it. And it's like, I want to share, like, either inspire or find relationships with other people that share similar passions. And it's a fun way to live life. It's like,
It really is, yeah. Not a lot of people know this, but my wife and I, we took over a farmer's market about 2.5 years
I did
ago.
not know that.
Yeah. And so
That's awesome.
we've taken this little farmer's market and we've grown it like 800%. Like it's, it's
Do you do like
blowing
a
up. And
CSA or is it like, Or is it like actual, just like people go shopping at the farmer's market?
Yeah, it's like people go shopping at the farmers market.
That's
My
amazing.
it was a market that was started back in 1986 here locally, and my mom managed it for like 25, 26 years. And she got to a point where she's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm getting too old. And there was a big tornado that came through our area, and my wife and I, not really my wife and I, my wife went to the store, and when she came home, I was like, hey, congrats, we own a farmer's market now, because I, quote unquote, bought it from my mom. And we've had so much fun as like a family doing it, because the whole family is involved, and we've grown it 8x from what it was, and this year we're on pace to double again. I have more people are always so fascinated when I'm talking to them about like the farmers market, like, how do you own a farmers market? What do you do here?
Yeah,
What do you do there? Like
I
people,
have so many questions, and it's like the
yeah,
funny thing about it is the growth is a byproduct of the passion. It's like, the thing I struggle with is like private equity. They just come in and they strip expenses and they optimize margin, and it's like they rip souls out of companies or whatever. And look, I don't, I respect profit isn't a dirty word. That's just their business model. But it's like, my business model is like, how do you do something that you're really passionate about and provide something valuable to people that you feel strongly helps them? And it's like the byproduct is revenue growth. And you know
yep. I want to respect your time. I just got a couple more questions.
yeah, let's do it.
I know we're both so passionate about this industry. I've been in this industry for a long time, and I think obviously you have too. I've been doing what I've been doing for about 14 years on the marketing, advertising, and sales side of real estate. Every realtor I have ever met in my life says, I just need more leads. I just need more leads. I just need more leads. And I've always fought back on that idea. And what I have observed that I find really interesting is not that we shouldn't buy more leads. Everybody, yes, keep buying leads. I think that's a fantastic idea. But I think what a lot of people are doing is they're masking their inability to actually build real relationships and connections with people that they maybe have purchased leads, or they've got these relationships where they got these contacts. Everybody's just like, no, give me new relationships, new people, new this, new that. And so I'm wondering, with all of the experience and all of the data and all of the technology and all of the stuff that you guys do to enrich databases and enrich connections, like, what have you seen high level? This is not attack on leads. This isn't anything like that. It's just, what have you seen that you think people can do to just go deeper into the relationships and connections that they've already developed that are maybe sitting in their database and are dead? Like, what are some of the top few things that you guys have noticed that could just change somebody's whole business if they would focus on it?
Yes. Yes. I'll start there. But I think for me, you already said it earlier, but it's the genuine curiosity, right? And what I have observed in our industry is we walk around with these little scripts, and it's like we try so hard to say what's on the scripts that we stop forgetting how to actually have a conversation with a human being, right? And so my first recommendation is internalize your script so deeply so that you don't have to think about a script when you're having a conversation. Because I'm thinking about what to say next, I'm not present in our conversation, right? And so when I lead generate, and Fello, we do this 30-day listing challenge every year, right? And I actually participate back in with my team and get on the phones. When I have calls with prospects, I sit at my desk with my headphones on and my feet are kicked up and I'm sitting back and I'm just kind of having a conversation, right? Grant, what's up, man? Hey, I saw you just inquired on, or hey, I just wanted to check in, and I've got my arms kicked up and I'm just genuinely enjoying the conversation. Versus a lot of people, they stand in front of a mirror to make sure that they're reminding themselves to smile with a wall with all these scripts on it. And it's like, you wonder why you sound like a scripted robot. It's like, because you're sitting there having to remind yourself to smile when you're talking on the phone, right? Like, enjoy having conversations with people. Be genuinely curious about the questions you're asking them. Come from contribution. Focus on giving, providing value versus like, one of the biggest frustrations that I have, and the reason why we started the 30-day listing challenge, Fello does a lot with taking your database, injecting it with all this information and turning these buyer leads, identifying who of them are homeowners. Once we identify who are homeowners, the message that is most relevant to every homeowner is, are you curious what your home at 123 Main Street is worth, right? It is a very top of funnel, low intent message, but it is relevant to every homeowner, right? If you own a home and you get an email that says, are you curious about recent sales around 123 Main Street? If I get an email that says, see how interest rates impact value at 456 Church Street, that email is relevant to every homeowner. And the challenge that our industry has is when you say, sure, I'd be curious about how recent sales have impacted my home value. And I call you up and you say, I say, Grant, what's up, man? I saw that you just clicked on an email about your home value. Do you want to sell your house? And you're like, no, dude, I got an email from you that just said, are you curious what my home value is? Why would I want to sell my house? And we put so much pressure on the conversation of if versus when, right? And it's so interesting to me that we all of a sudden say like, oh, these leads suck, or, oh, this is such a waste of money, or this is a waste of my time. When really building relationships is about having great conversation, getting into discovery and identifying when there would be an opportunity when there is motivation, and then ultimately categorizing you based off of that motivation and putting you into this really large pipeline of Grant is 3 years out, but that's okay. I'm going to be selling real estate in 3 years. And Mike is 6 years out, and this person's 6 months out. And if every day I'm having conversations, just enjoying having a conversation and getting genuinely curious about what your plans are and if there's anything I can do to help you and answer any questions and provide value to you and be a resource, now all of a sudden that opens you up to actually being, I would say, open and vulnerable with me on what your true motivation or timetable or lack of motivation and timetable is. We put so much pressure on trying to close every single conversation that all of a sudden we push every prospect away. It's a huge problem with our industry, and therefore we keep buying more leads, dumping more onto the top of the bucket with all the holes in it. And it's like, if we just keep dumping more on, the bucket will always seem full. But really, how do we just patch these holes so we don't have to keep dumping more and more on, so we can just live in what we've already acquired, you know?
Yeah. Man, that's so good. I have so many more questions. I want to respect your time though. We'll have to find another reason to get on here and chat it up sometime in the future. But for people that are listening to this, how can they partner with you? How could they walk alongside, support you? What's important to you guys right now?
Just send me an email, ryan@fello.ai, Fello .ai, however I can help. Like I said, it's all about contribution. You need help with your business, give me a shout. If I can't help you, I can probably point you in the right direction who can. And that's what this industry is about. Let's keep supporting each other. We've got a core value on the young team. We say commitment gets you in the door, but contribution keeps you in, right? A lot of people say they'll commit and they'll contribute, but ultimately contribution is what keeps you in my room. Like, we'll all grow if we all contribute and pour into each other. And that's what this industry should be about.
Absolutely, man. I love it. I'll make sure that we link up the ways people can connect with you in our show notes. Thanks again, man. This has been an awesome conversation. Really appreciate you spending some time with me.
Cool. Appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you guys for continuing to listen to the Partner Profit Podcast. You know, this was another absolutely epic conversation. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.